Hey, what's up? This is Whathehadas. Chill, chilling. Yeah, this is Whathehadas. But yeah, I'm not gonna just conclude there ain't no God like a lot of the ex-members out there, basically saying they're atheists now. I haven't come to that conclusion yet. I can't really conclude that there ain't no God. At the same time, I can't really conclude that there is a God. I know I lost faith to a certain degree, but I still believe it's a creator, and I can't make that conclusion without looking at most of the facts. And from what I've seen, I can just say I do believe to a certain extent that there is a God, whether he's Jehovah or whatever, and so be. But as far as my thoughts on his name, I think he's beyond a name anyway. So I don't know why it's such a big deal about his name. Like, he's the creator. If he created everything, you can't really put a name on him. The name Jehovah means he caused to become. He could cause to become anything. So what does the name? That's a whole nother issue anyway. But it's just ridiculous why people make such a big deal. The witnesses make such a big deal about, oh, his name needs to be proclaimed throughout the whole earth. And, oh, Jehovah is his name, not Yahweh or Lord or God. Those are just titles. It's Jehovah, Jehovah, Jehovah. You hear like 10 freaking million times. Like, okay. Like, I thought as far as addressing people, especially people who are above you or a different way in a higher position than you, I thought like the main thing as far as reverence is concerned, you wouldn't address them by their name. Like, just even with your parents, you wouldn't address your parents by name. You wouldn't call your mom by her name. You wouldn't call your dad, especially by his name. If I know growing up, if I would have did that, I would have got a beating. And gonna say, Dad, or you ain't gonna call your dad if his name is John. You're gonna be like, hey John, when you gonna take me to the park? You ain't gonna say that. He'll be like, what the heck? I'm your dad. You like, yeah, I ain't your friend. Ain't like that. He could be your friend, but he ain't. You don't have the same. You're not on the same level as a friend like that. It ain't. Just the relationship is different, and the same would it be like that for God? How you worry gonna call him by his name? That's just, that don't make no sense. Now that I had a chance to think about it, and witnesses make such a big deal about that crap. It's like from the stuff I've seen, it's like and some of the even in their own publications, they kind of conclude that, well, since Jehovah is well known now, we have to conclude that it is his name, and we'll continue to use it and push it forth as the main pronunciation of his name. But yeah, that's ridiculous. That's a whole nother issue. I'll talk about that another time. But yeah, just stuff like that. Anyway, that made me start to think about a lot of stuff that the society, or they really don't want to be called like about. they really want to. They really don't want to be addressed as a society no more. that was a new thing I learned over the past year when I was still in. See what since it has such a negative connotation to it, a society. Like, oh, the society says this, the society says do this, the society says don't do that, or this is what the society has now said. And go to society for your answers to your questions. But yeah, they try to get away from that. They're just trying to basically address itself as the branch, because a lot of the brothers are trying to push that in the hall. They had an announcement too about that. Like, oh, the branch. Well, anyway, there's just so many things, and Ray France brought out this crisis of conscience. A lot of stuff that was going on in the early '60s, situation with Malawi and Mexico, and some of the research being done in the writing department, and just a whole bunch of stuff, man. Just this Ray France hit the nail on the head on a lot of issues, and since you're young, especially for myself, you growing up in this organization, you don't know what exactly on and what was going on at the time, and stuff like that. Since it happened a while ago, even it was a lot of stuff was going on in the '80s before I was born, early '80s. Just a lot of stuff that was going on that most of the witnesses they weren't privy to it. But yeah, Ray France just brought out a lot of stuff about the society's inner workings, all the certain some of their practices, and a lot of their arrangements, like with the voting on passing certain what you call it I don't know if you can say it, laws, but approving certain issues, approving certain things that were questionable. They just went by. They were going by voting. I think it was like 2/3 a majority or something like that. But if one person don't agree, it would just let it stand or something like that. It was some type of way they would vote, but it just didn't seem fair at the time. It wasn't fair. And Ray was hitting that and trying to bring that out, but it seemed like he was going against the grain, and that's one of the reasons he got kicked out. But yeah, his book opened my eyes, but it wasn't the first thing that really just hit, just like cracked my whole world. It was reading that Steve Hassan's Combat and Mind Control, because he had a person outside of the organization who was basically just going over the whole blueprint of how organizations like the Jehovah's Witness organization work, how cults work. I'm just shocked at the stuff he was bringing out in the book, some the thinking and the lingo that is used in organizations like this. It was surprising. And we was talking about the Moonies, just describing how the members act, how they try to convert people. It's like just straight up, just crazy similar to the way the witnesses do things, how they try to convert people and basically have mind control. Like they're just subconsciously controlling you, pushing your buttons, making you make certain decisions, and make you feel guilty if you don't do certain things. Just everything was just basically contrived by the hierarchy and passed on down to the different levels of the membership. And basically these organizations are set up like a pyramid where you have the lower workers, you have middle level, and then you have the hierarchy. It's just everything was just set up like a pyramid where if you're at the bottom, you can gradually work up to get to the top. May not everybody ain't gonna get to the top, but apparently when you have positions that are open for people and they got a chance to get them, then there you have it. It's based like a pyramid, which mostly everything in this world is set up like. But it's really crazy when it comes to religion, especially how so much pressure is in them to get certain positions especially since this is basically a world driven by men. You have all the pressure on men to get certain positions so they can basically help these other guys out who getting a lot of the load. But basically, the whole society was just very controlling, and Steve Hassan he really just cracked open my whole world.